Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wow, you are one loud crowd. And you brought your timpanis with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the overabundance of sound effects should tell you that not only is it the Bob Doyle Show podcast, but it is also the Bob Doyle Show podcast with Lynn Rose. It is funny to think about. It's even more funny to execute. And when I say execute, I did not mean that. Oh, there you go. Well, that sound means it's this. You're listening to the Bob Doyle Show podcast, a very infrequent broadcast, which I'm hoping that you could even hear me over that loud music. If you didn't, I'm just going to remind you that this is the Bob Doyle Show, and I'm Bob Doyle, and we're joined today by Lynn Rose. Whoa!
Crowd goes wild.
She brought her peeps out today.
Looks like it's just starting.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to turn around just a sketch. All right, that's enough of that.
Man,
Now,
I'm going to take this off.
all right, Lynn is... Oh, that's right. Well, we can turn this off now.
Oh.
All right. Well, no, I have to hear myself. If I don't hear myself, I don't feel like I'm broadcasting.
All right. I like you to not feel like you're broadcasting.
No,
I just
no.
wanna be real.
Yeah,
Dude.
no. We don't do real on the Bob Doyle Show.
Oh,
Maybe you
my
should tune in
God.
every now and then. Have you ever listened to the Bob Doyle? Have you ever watched,
think.
the Bob Doyle Show? On Fridays at noon Pacific on Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us at thebobdoyleshow.com. But you already know that. So why am I having this conversation with you out loud? It's very unnatural. I don't know why we would be having it. And I don't know why you're not stopping me. Why wouldn't you
I'm
say...
going to stop you.
See, Lynn looks at me like she's spectating the show and not being a part of it. Actually, hold on. I have to... there. We need a bit more... A skosh more volume.
Skosh.
Yeah. That's a Wisconsin term.
It's actually Japanese.
I think you're right. I think you
means
told
a
me
little
that.
bit,
I think
yeah.
you told me that, so that makes it true. Because I've never fact-checked that. So I'm just going to go with it's true.
No, you can't trust fact checkers.
So, ladies and gentlemen, and you know who you are, welcome to this show that is in fact being broadcast live as we're... Ow! Cody the dog just sat on my
Sabotaged by our
earphone
dog.
cord and yanked the earphones down on my ear. So, what is the lesson that we've learned here today? There's no
There's
lesson.
a dog in your lap.
There's no lesson to be learned. So, if you guessed anything, I'm sorry. You have to go back to the back of the classroom. So, we do this show live, even though we know good and well that no one's actually listening live, at least at this stage in the evolution of the Bob Doyle Show, which is a thing. It is, Lynn, it is a thing, right? We're 48 episodes in, I think, right? I think so. Well, you're being awfully quiet. Lynn is being
Very
uncharacteristically
contemplative.
contemplative.
Contemplative. Okay.
Would it help if I got the ukulele and did the Fun with Bob and Lynn theme to get you into the groove of doing our
Then
show?
I will feel it's like our show.
Okay, good.
I just thought I was a guest, a guide on the side.
No. We're going to do what we're going to do. This is like a crossover show. We're going to get in, ladies and gentlemen, fans of the Bob Doyle Show. Before there was the Bob Doyle Show, there was fun. Well, that's not technically true. There was the Bob Doyle Show when I was 12.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My sister and I both had our own shows. We had these, I think it was in the reel-to-reel recorder days, and we were and cassettes, but we would record the Bob Doyle Show, and it would be like, ba da, this me singing it, da 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 da. I usurped that. Usurped? No. What's the word I'm looking for? Where I stole it. I used it. It seems like there's a like this that sounds in there.
Don't know. Plagiarize?
Gosh, you guys help. Somebody quick jump in the chat. Dawn, where are you?
What?
Hold on, there is a chat.
But we're on Spreaker or something, right?
Yeah, we're on Spreaker, but
so that's not going to be in Facebook.
No, not Facebook chat. There's Spreaker chat, and Dawn has participated in that.
Oh, she
Again,
has?
if you, but it's not actually allowing me to go there for whatever reason.
That sucks.
Well, that's okay because there's nobody in there chatting.
Oh, just us.
It's just you and me. That's the music that says it's time for me to go get my ukulele so we can start the Fun with Bob and Lynn theme song. She may have to hit that again.
Tell me I'm going to hit it again.
Hit it again.
Woo! Here we go. Where might he be? Oh, here he is.
All right. I gotta put my headset's backs ends.
Just so you can hear how
All right,
you sound.
we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still a little concerned about the fact that I can't get to the chat tab. Not that anyone's going to be there. It's just I'd like things to work. Ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Fun with Bob and Lynn. It's time for Fun with Bob and Lynn. It's time for fun. It's time for Fun with Bob and Lynn. Fun with Bob and Lynn. It's time for Fun with Bob and Fun with Bob and Lynn. And that's it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fun with Bob and Lynn. Now, normally, right now, Lynn would be hitting a sound effect. I thought it was right there. Okay, geez, that's just so loud.
So loud. Oh, see? Well, you have your headphones in.
I do.
Yeah.
I guess I could take them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so...
Oh, natural.
Now it just feels like
feel
we're not...
naked
Now it
now.
just feels weird, yes.
I'm naked.
It just feels like people are just in our bedroom listening to our conversation. Because we're not holding a microphone. We're just... But I guess this is how we always did
That's
it.
what it is. That's what
God,
makes
are
it
we
so
this
cool.
out of practice that this feels awkward?
Maybe. I don't know. I missed getting to interact with the people writing the comments.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
that's
The
what I
Facebook
missed.
Live
And we
is...
didn't have that before.
No.
So we only ever had just talking to ourselves. And then it was hard. We felt we lost the Bob and Lynn-ness because of the comments, because it would knock us off course so much.
That's true.
And then now it's like, that is Bob and Lynn, because it's a three-way conversation.
Right. 4 if we get more than one viewer. Ladies and gentlemen, that's...
funny.
Yes, but no. So Lynn and I have done this Spreaker podcast for a few years, actually, and off and on, admittedly. But we've gone through runs of doing it regularly. But I think the Bob Doyle Show by far is the longest running, dedicated. This is happening on a regular time schedule of anything
amazing.
we've done. So now this podcast, different story altogether. But I always loved the Fun with Bob and Lynn podcast because it was just truly just listening in on our lives, talking about what we had been doing that day or that week or whatever. And so that's one of the reasons I thought we could do it today, because you've got just a classic Fun with Bob and Lynn scale story of what happened over the weekend. I mean, look, sometimes, I'm going to admit it, sometimes she tells stories, I'm thinking, I don't think there's anything here for the listener. Why are we doing this? And then I would listen to it later and go, you know what, it doesn't matter. It's just because it's how she's telling the story. But this one, it's a harrowing tale, my friends. Hold on, where's the... It is a harrowing tale indeed. It is one that, even though I was not with her when this happened, I felt the fear. I felt the anxiety, the tenseness. Probably in some ways more so than she did in some ways. Of course, she will have her, when you hear her story, when you hear her tale, oh, my friends, you need to be sitting down and give this your full attention and put yourself there. Imagine as she will tell it with great detail, I'm sure, and great emotion, as she should. Because of all the tales told by Lynn. This is truly one for the ages. Meaning it had better never, ever, ever happen again.
That's for bloody sure.
And the lessons learned throughout, as Lynn will do. Now, in true, typical, traditional, old school Fun with Bob and Lynn, I have now said my 7 minutes.
Oh, jeez.
And I am handing the rest of it over to Lynn.
God.
Because truly, she'll be in storytelling mode. Now, at certain points of the story, I may, like where I get involved in the narrative, I may pop in with a line or two. But this is your story. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lynn Rose and her story.
I mean, how do I... I could say I went on the moon and it wouldn't be dramatic enough.
Right. Well, I got this from Mark Anthony Bates. He wrote that intro for me.
That's right. Yes, that's it. It all began innocently enough. Actually, I am going to be overtelling details, but you kind of have to know this kind of part of it. So
I wish I could appropriately back up your story with music.
I know you
with
could.
the soundtrack that would
get out my phone or your phone and do it.
Out your what does
Play
the phone
music.
have to do with it? No, because then we run into copyright problems.
Oh, okay.
This show above board. That's why we write our own themes here, ladies and gentlemen.
Do a little humming underneath me while I tell the story. Come on. Just hum.
Okay, we'll try this for a second.
That'd be so cool. Okay, so I'm still climbing out of debt from all the
I don't think this is
tax
working.
audits. Nice.
All right.
And I'd had a client that had to back out last minute, and so I wasn't so sure about going to Vegas because it just involves money.
Well, wait, did you even tell them? Hold on, you got to say.
I was going to Vegas for my friend who is a 90-year-old. She was having her 90th birthday, and I had promised her the year before that I would come to her 90th birthday. And she would just constantly remind through the year. And then as it was getting closer, I was thinking, oh my God, I just can't. But I just felt bad, and I thought, okay, I need to go.
And this was right after Thanksgiving.
Right. Literally got back.
So we had just done a week of family.
Yes.
So let's keep all of this in mind.
Yes.
On top of this, just the trip, she had just gotten back from a week of Thanksgiving.
So then I'm leaving Saturday morning. Yep. And it was awesome birthday party, and thankfully I could stay with Mama Silta, is what I call her. I love her. She ended up having a spare room, so got to save on that. And next day brunch, so it was all great. And then that's one of the worst weekends of the year, worst days of the year to drive from Vegas to LA is on Thanksgiving, the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Just the worst. And that's what that was. So I was watching Waze, which is a traffic app. It tells you, how long it's going to take up to minute traffic details. And just seeing when the traffic it was already an hour longer than it should take, but I was keeping my eye on it. Then it started becoming an hour and a half, 2 hours longer than it should take. So finally it started now going back down. And that was only an hour longer than it should take. I thought, I'm going to hit the road now because I bet even later it's going to be bad. And so I didn't realize that it wasn't going down the 15, that it was a back way. Mm-hmm. Until I was on the road and I went, wait a minute, why is it not having me it's having me go to the 40. I know the 40. It's a big road. It's between Laughlin and here. So that's where it was in my mind. So I thought it was fine. Okay, we'll go that way. That'd be nice. I didn't know that it was really this back way that cut. So it was whatever this road is via the 40. So that's where I got my 40 wrong or something like that. So, but it was fine. It was dark, even though it was 5:15 or something. It was dark at that point, or getting dark actually. That's right, it was getting dark. And these are hilly, it's one lane, one way, one lane, the other type of thing. And I did not see a pothole, and I hit it, and it just went pew, and front and right back tire.
We missed that because I played a sound effect of drama. So you hit the pothole, and then what happened?
I hit the pothole, and I blew out my right front and right back tire. So, and found out later it was worse than that. But, and I'm going, okay. And then there was no cell signal. So, middle of the Mojave Desert on this back road, essentially. In fact, one of the signs on the road said, beware of the crossing tortoise or something. Or beware of hitting tortoises.
I'm realizing I did this all wrong.
Okay.
The way to tell this story
Go ahead.
is for me to tell it from my point of view first, which is I get a phone call from a phone number I don't recognize, which I never answer, but this time I did. And the guy goes, "Is this Bob?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "We just, something about your girlfriend, Lynn, is it?" And I'm like, "Okay, now I'm already freaking out." And he tells me that she blew out 2 tires. She's doesn't have phone signal, and she's just kind of out there somewhere. So they were tasked with driving to where there was signal and then calling AAA and giving them the information. Lynn had zero way of knowing whether or not that had ever been done or anything. So what she told you...
I didn't even know the AAA number was current.
Right.
So
what she told you was
about that too.
Was all leading up to that phone call that I get. So now, and it doesn't hit me right away that she doesn't know that AAA has been called. That doesn't hit me for like an hour and a half. I get told that it's going to be what's roughly 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes later, 2 hours from her sitting there. And I'm going, okay. And somehow in my mind, it registered that you knew this and that it was just a waiting game and you'll just sit tight. And it wasn't until much later I go, wait a minute. Those people had no way of telling her. They didn't drive back. So that means she just is hoping that something's happening. And I'm going, oh my God. And I got this unbelievably deep sinking feeling of just, it brought up all this childhood stuff that she and I have talked about already that we won't share here, for crying out loud. What's your problem? I'm trying to tell a story about Lynn. We can talk about my childhood on another program. You can tune into the Bob Doyle Show. Wink. This is the Bob Doyle Show. We're reenacting the fun with Bob and Lynn just to remind you of what's going on in case you blinked earlier. An aural blink. It's when, you don't listen for a second. Now back to the program.
Are you quite through?
Yeah. And totally lost too. I don't even remember
Oh my God.
the story of your tale, your harrowing tale.
Jesus.
Right. Okay. So.
Well, anyway, so that I was sitting there going, okay, because I was already so stressed. I had not even $100 to my name. To be frank, I knew I had money coming in from this client in the next couple days, but right in that moment, I had gone to the edge, and I didn't want to go over the weekend because I wanted some time off, but also I knew I needed to be spending time trying to generate income, so I felt weird about that. So I was glad when I left Sunday afternoon, not having to be late Sunday night to avoid traffic. And then yet there I am now stuck in the middle of the desert.
Right.
And not knowing what the hell I'm going to do. And I thought, I don't know what this means. I don't know what's going on. And I had to trust that these people, I really felt that they truly, truly cared. If it had been somebody else, I might not have felt that way. But I felt for sure they would go out of their way to find a way. And I remember I started getting a little panicky as I'm going, is there even going to be a AAA open that evening?
Right. You had no way of knowing.
Or available, because it's Thanksgiving Sunday. Will they even find me? Did my AAA card work? Because I don't think I gave them the right number.
Oh my God. See, my stuff's coming up again.
So I was thinking all this. And then I'm just in the middle of the desert and you have no idea what's going on. And there's literally no lights, everything. And I could feel myself starting to panic. And then I just had to breathe. And I tried, and I said, all right, I'm not going to die here. Because worst come to worst, if nothing came this evening, I have plenty of food because I had leftover food from the brunch. I had a whole big 12-pack of Coke Zero in the car, so I knew I'd be okay. And I had a full tank of gas, so I could turn the car on and off, which I did while I was waiting to put heat on because it was freaking cold. But having flagged down that car, this love. Well, I don't think they got that far yet. We're kind of jumping around. I thought, well, what I need to do, I have no cell signal. I need to flag down a car and have them call Bob and call AAA, and we'll try to determine where we are. And so they were great, and they did that.
Yep.
But that's where, now I'll jump ahead to where I'm waiting and they gave me this amazing blanket, which we'll get to the story.
Oh yeah,
of the
we
blanket.
have. This is such a great layered story.
Because they knew I was going to be cold. So, and they were moving from Georgia to LA. And they apologized they couldn't take me anywhere because the car was so full. They only had room just for them in the car. And that was great. I didn't even want to be taken anywhere anyway. Yeah, so they gave me the blanket. And I'm just, so that I was waiting, having to trust. And I thought, worse come to worse, it'll be daytime tomorrow. It'll be easier to catch cars and things. And and then I also made a pact with myself. I said, in 2 hours, I'll flag down another car, and ask them also. And and it been almost 2.5 hours. And another car did, before I had a chance to flag it down, just pulled and asked me, do I need help and what I needed. So I was gearing up to have the message sent to Bob.
Yep.
And right as I was, getting all that to that guy, there comes AAA.
Ugh, this story makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, and AAA said, well, he was from Baker, which was already an hour away or so.
Yeah.
And, and he normally shouldn't have had to take that call, but he decided to because he was up and about anyway. Thank God. So if he hadn't, and it was very nice, but also he's driving like a madman, and not to Baker, but all the way to Barstow. So now I'm an hour and a half with a stranger who's driving like a madman in the cab of a tow truck.
Still, this is when you're really thankful for having AAA.
Uh-huh.
And the premium package.
Oh my gosh, yes, Premier all the way.
Because in that situation, that would have been costly.
Oh, horrific.
On so many levels, aside from, the cost that you did finally incur.
Well, yeah, because I had to buy a hotel room, which
Yep.
was a motel room. Thank God for kayak.com. Feel free to be a sponsor.
Just getting all sorts of plugs.
I'm serious, though, kayak.com. I use like crazy for hotel and flights.
And I never do.
Oh, man, so good. Which eventually, sometimes it takes you to Priceline, so you could, bypass
I do
that.
use Priceline.
Right. Well, this one was through Priceline, actually. Anyway.
Total backpedal on the kayak.
Yeah.
All right, anyway.
Yep. So I knew that I wasn't going to do anything about it until the next day because every place was closed and the tow truck driver, knew some places and for me to go check on, and he knew where to kind of drop me off, so I was able to get a motel or find a motel right there. And they couldn't work on the car because they didn't have the tires I needed, so I called around all the different places and found a used tire place, a used tire place. They were going to get a good deal on used tires, so I'm like on it. But then they go, we got bad news, ma'am, and I'm shivering with the blanket that Chris and Anna gave.
Lance
and Anna gave. I'm shivering.
Not the real names.
I get to go home soon, yay, Just change the tire, I get home by Monday afternoon, yay. And they go, we got bad news, ma'am. What? The rims, both rims, were just super dented, like triangle in it, from wherever this friggin' pothole, which the AAA driver said they come get people because of tire problems all the time, because of stuff like that. They've been trying to fix potholes, but they haven't fixed all of them. Anywho. So the guy who would fix the rims that they said was the only guy in town was closed that day, and he wouldn't be around till tomorrow, and he doesn't like to work. That's literally what they said.
Yeah, how about that? I love that.
He doesn't like to work, so as long as he's willing to work on them, I'm going, what? So I don't even know if tomorrow I'll get the tire rims done. So And I'm going to have to leave the hotel room because it's, almost noon.
Do you notice that she's telling the story in the present tense? That's why you feel like you're right there. She's saying, I noticed this. I'm in the hotel room. I didn't
even know.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Rob does that same thing.
Well, it's how it felt in the moment. Yep. So, this is where it's fortuitous and so cool and hallelujah. I was thinking, well, I could try to have one more tow left on my AAA, and they could drive me up to 200 miles. So they could take me all the way to Marina Del Rey. I was looking into that, and I go, shit, that'd be great.
Language.
I know. So I was thinking about that, but then I thought, damn, I'd still have to deal with
language. Jeez, do you understand what you're just going off?
And I didn't say the rest of it. I still have to wait. I still have to wait and fixing the car and figuring all that out. Blah. And but it looks like I'm going to have to stay another night. And I was just about to go to the hotel to take care of it when Anne Perrone, who is the wife of Fred Welch, who is the son...
Here's their address,
and their
social security numbers.
The son of the 90-year-old Ileana Mama Sota. That's how I fell in love with Mama Sota, through Fred. Anyway, so Anne, they were all there that weekend. And so when they heard what had happened, Anne, who's just so great at organization, goes, anything I can do to help? I said, well, if you want to call ahead to Ontario, I figure Ontario's on the way not too far from AAA, and I could, maybe there I'd find someone who could fix my rims, and I could just be towed there, get the rims, and then head home, get the rims and tires. So here are the tires I need. These are the aluminum ribs and this model. So I'm dealing with some other things, and I get a text back, and she's listed all these places. Well, this place has this place has that. And she said, and Tony at Moda's, where you're getting your tires, is taking the rims over to E&A, which is right next to Moda's. And they do aluminum rims. And you can do this and you can do that. And I'm going, how did she figure out?
She solved her life.
She solved my life. And the guys at Moda's said they didn't know that E&A did aluminum tires.
So it took Anne and some phone calls. And here, the boyfriend... just doing nothing except freaking out. That's how I was productive.
Bob, meaning is what he means.
Yeah. Spousal equivalent, freaking out. I'm just all in my head about what Lynn's going through, having no information, just watching my phone, looking at my GPS to see if she comes back on the map, and it's just like I'm just going crazy.
How was that moment when you saw me come on the map?
Very good, because I saw it
moment?
before you actually texted me. I saw you and texted you and said, I just saw you come back on.
Oh.
And yes, it was like, okay, she's on the move, which is great. And I knew I'd be hearing from you shortly. But you were in a great place, all things considered. But I think this is a real Pulp Fiction story because of the sequence we have to. We're all over the place, but now we have to go back. Unless you want to wrap up another piece of that one, but I feel like the Lance and Anna blanket piece.
Yeah.
So Lynn mentioned that they gave her a blanket, and she also mentioned that they were coming from Georgia to L.A. They were moving all their stuff in the car.
You found out they were from Georgia. I didn't know that.
Yes, Yes, Anna explained that to me because she wanted me to understand why they didn't go back and get Lynn. So the thing is that just a few years ago, Lynn and I made that same move with a car, my car, the very car she was in, filled with stuff, and we
also stopped in Vegas.
This is where I was going right now because that's key to the story. We were in Vegas, but on the way to Vegas, we had stopped in Arizona somewhere and gotten for me to eat an amazingly good country fried chicken sandwich, and it came with a little tub of gravy that once we were finished eating while we were driving and all this, we just kind of forgot about the tub of gravy and all this because my car was filled with stuff.
So true.
Garbage just got kind of pushed into this. It got eaten by the stuff in the car. So then we go to Vegas, and we're there for a couple of days. It's 115 degrees. Our car is out in it the whole time. So now it's the day we're coming back to L.A. We're moving stuff around in the car to move, just move stuff around in the car. And I'm pulling on this brown blanket, which is one of my favorite brown blankets, and out spills the
gravy.
The gravy, and it just is all over the blanket. It smells like vomit.
Oh, horrible.
And we tried to get scrape what off we could, and whatever, and we rolled the blanket up so that the stuff would be in the inner of the ball. Didn't make any difference. The car smelled like vomit, and we said goodbye blanket, and we had to toss out the blanket in a dumpster in Vegas. So we're unloading the car when Lynn finally gets home. And I pull the blanket that they lent out, and it's the same. It's not obviously but it's the same type blanket. Of brown blanket that we threw away right outside of Vegas. Was given to her by these people. It's the craziest thing because they're making the same journey that we were making.
Yeah,
it's just insane to me. I love it. It's just one of my favorite things that's ever happened to us. Unfortunately, you had to go through all that crap so that we could have that story. And so we have every intention of connecting with them again and seeing how Lynn wants to help them connect or whatever if they need it in LA.
Absolutely, I need to know more, but you know it.
And get them their blanket back.
Maybe. I'm kidding. At least I can have it, but yeah. I will say, and Bob doesn't like me talking about it, but I really did flow with everything, and it was just keeping it together, and I think it was like survival mechanism just to get through that moment. But I'm kind of in awe that this is happening and feeling way out of it, but just getting through it. And then, so I get home late Monday night, finally home, and then it kind of starts hitting me, and it builds, and especially the next day, I just had, I felt like a pit of despair and panic, and I felt like with every mind ninja trick that I know, I couldn't make go away this really overwhelming feeling of depression, and still been fighting it today. But thankfully, I'm feeling better. I think I'm wondering if it was a reaction to just. Yeah.
Well, it's probably a combination of a lot of things, but I would say that holding it together the way that you did, not just while you were waiting, which would have been the most intense part for me, and certainly was, but then just what's going to happen with the car, just a huge freaking burden that you had to handle. I couldn't swoop in and take over. You just had to do it and hold it together, which was the good choice to make because you could have easily broken down. So you earned it. There's a balance to that strength, and it's the release. And so you had the release, and the depression, it's could be part of that release, tapping into whatever other stuff is going on. But, it's, you have to live with me, so who wouldn't feel depressed every now and then, right? Am I right? She's supposed to be laughing right now. That's the problem with this bit of humor.
I've got these guys.
No, oh, crap. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
Look at that. We figured out the chat. It's a swipe, not a tap.
Oh.
We figured out the chat. It's a swipe, not a tap. We figured out the chat.
You could have invited Facebook friends all this time.
What?
Guess so.
Hold on a sec. What's it going to let me do?
You're about to find
or do
out.
I have to do, is it really truly like just one Facebook friend, or is it a post that says, So see, I'd have to go.
Choose all of them,
I'd have
a
to.
group? Do you have a group?
No. This is just all my friends. I'd have to invite them one by one. That would take. That's not practical.
Bummer.
Yep. I do notice that I've definitely slipped into the Fun with Bob and Lynn vibe, though.
You have?
Yeah. Left the Bob Doyle Show vibe somewhere in the story.
I like the Fun with Bob and Lynn, Bob.
Not like that jerk on the Bob Doyle Show.
Yeah.
He is so whatever you'd call that.
He's still Bob Doyle, but I like the Bob Doyle, the Fun with Bob and Lynn.
Well,
Doyle.
Yep. We've been through a lot together on this program. It's been through lots of evolution, lots of iterations, and now we're already doing crossover.
I like it.
Yes. Sometimes it's the only time Lynn and I ever really talk about anything.
What?
She hates it when I tell the truth.
Oh my God.
No, it's just
harsh.
No, sometimes we don't take the time to sit and have a conversation deep like this for 30 minutes because we're just busy doing our stuff, and we have every right to and reason to be involved in our activities. But this is an activity that we share, and we actually get to talk about our day and share stuff.
Oh, so you just have the Fun with Bob and Lynn show so that we can talk and go
That's right.
deep.
Exactly. It's not to entertain anybody. It's
now.
just for my own personal therapy and to connect with my spousal equivalent. Truth is out.
So you guys, whenever you listen to the show, you just know you're basically helping save our relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So thanks, you guys. You guys are awesome. We really appreciate that.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, they're the Bob Doyle Show listeners, so of course they're going to love you.
So if you do a show and no one listens, is it still a show?
No.
Yeah.
Well, we can end this now if you want to.
I guess we need to.
All right, so hold on.
Your uke.
Oh, that's right. Well, I got to end two shows. First, I got to end Fun with Bob
right.
and Lynn. I got to end.
Oh, ow!
Sorry.
Hit me on the head.
You've been listening to Fun with Bob and Lynn. You've been listening with Fun and Bob and Lynn again. You've been listening to Fun with Bob and Lynn. You've been listening to Fun with Bob and Lynn. With Fun with Bob and Lynn. You've been watching Fun with, listening to, watching, whatever you're doing, itching.
Fun with
Bob and Lynn.
And
Again. Ladies and gentlemen, you've also been listening to the Bob Doyle Podcast. That's right. Snap along with us. Yeah, man. Smooth as silk. Well, thank you, you and all those you invited. Oh, you forgot to invite people? Well, that's all right. It's all right this time. But next time, you'll remember right. I mean, it shouldn't have to be something I remind you about. It's just one of those things. One of those crazy flings. You've been listening. I've already said this, so I don't need to say it again. And you also know already that you've been listening because you've been the ones who are doing the listening. And if you haven't been listening, then I'm not even right. So it's irrelevant that I'm talking either way. So I'm going to stop right now and let the theme play out.
It's the Bob Doyle Show.